This is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network. Welcome to the Vintage Homeschool Moms Show. Your host, Felice Gerwitz, is an author, a publisher, and your radio show host. She will encourage, educate, and inspire you with answers to your most pressing questions, from homeschool, marriage, parenting, and much more. Felice loves to equip moms to live a Christian life because every moment counts. Be sure to visit her website at mediaangels.com. And here's your host, Felice Gerwitz.
Hey everyone, and welcome. This is Felice Gerwitz with an episode of Vintage Homeschool Moms, and today we are talking about Easter celebrations on the cheap. Celebrating Easter on the cheap does not mean skimping on our favorite time of the year. It means celebrating in style and saving money along the way, and of course keeping the focus on the real reason for Easter. You can find the show notes at vintagehomeschoolmoms.com. And I am not going to have every single thing that I want to discuss on the podcast because it would be a very long list. So I am going to be sharing with you 6 or 7 things on this podcast, and then I'm going to urge you to go over to vintagehomeschoolmoms.com and grab the rest of them on the show notes. And even better, if you are a member of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network, you will get all of the printables that we are having this year. And if you are having some difficulty finding those printables, you can go to mediaangelsmembership.com and find them there. In addition, we have a wonderful sponsor. We're blessed to have a sponsor for this episode. We'd like to thank Chelsea Road Productions, creators of the movie Ice Dragon, which was available for a limited time in theaters, so hopefully you caught that. But guess what? You can own the soon-to-be classic film and add it to your cherished family video collection. To learn more about the movie, go to icedragonmovie.com for more information. And one thing, I don't always get to preview the movies, but this one I did, and I absolutely loved it. It kind of plays along with the lines of the Fall from the Garden of Eden, but it is done in such a beautiful way with the animations that are not overkill or over the top. Sometimes I feel when I watch a movie that some of the animation takes away from the story. So this was beautifully done, and I'm really excited for Chelsea Road Productions and hope that they have a lot more on the... Well, today we are going to be talking about Easter celebrations on the cheap. So celebrating Easter really should be focused on the Lord and not the candy. Remind your children about the true meaning of Easter, which is the resurrection of our Lord. That is what you are celebrating. And so hopefully you have in your plans to attend church. We have beautiful ceremonies and celebrations at our church. So hopefully you have a wonderful celebration for your Easter service. So how are we saving money? The first is Potluck. I have to tell you that it took me years to allow my daughter and assorted family members to bring things when they came. I was doing it all, and it was costing a lot of money, and it got to be, pretty pricey. So one of the things that is a big deal here is everyone likes baked ham. And that can be sliced thin. It's not that expensive, and a ham will go a long way. The same thing with a turkey. A $20 turkey will go a long way in feeding a crowd. So those are our top 2 favorites. And then for the kids, I make mac and cheese, which is kid-friendly. Again, something that isn't super expensive, and scalloped potatoes for the adults. Something that is super yummy. I don't make all the time, and it goes really well with baked ham. We top it off with the big salad, and then we do a lot of little appetizers. So I'll do things like dips, and we'll have a fruit platter and things like that. So somebody will bring the fruit, somebody will bring some dips, and I get like a bunch of different crackers and chips and things on sale. I keep my eye out and go to some of the warehouses that are available to do that. The second thing is we repurpose and reuse things year after year. So we don't really buy anything for the Easter decorations. I'm going to share with you a really fun decoration that you can do with your kids, and that is included on the printables. But here we repurpose. So we have buckets that we invested in one year, and we have them Sharpie names on it, and the kids use that to do some of the activities that we have planned. And then we also have decorations that I bring out year after year. So that's one of the great things. The other thing is those plastic Easter eggs. We keep them year after year. And I'm going to share one of the things that we do is we collect loose change, and we have to kind of collect it ahead of time because my boys are really good at using loose change because, you know, they got that math that I taught them when they were little, and now that they're teenagers, it really is being used. That 4 quarters do make $1 and 10 dimes do make $1. So I have to, scrounge around sometimes for change. But my husband has it in abundance because he doesn't use change, and I always use change. So my kids are always embarrassed when they come with me. I make sure there's not a big line, so that I am not sitting there, trying to count out pennies. However, we put money in each of the eggs, so it can be a penny, a dime, a nickel, a quarter, and then we put those out in the yard, and the kids go collect them, and then they bring them to the dollar store. And that was started by my niece, who is awesome. So shout out for Kathleen from Tampa, and she would gather things through the years for the Easter store, and then she'd set that up on the table, and she arbitrarily threw out prices. I always told her she just needed to label them, but they would bargain with her, like, can I have these pencils for 5 pennies? And she'd say, I'll let it go for 2. So the kids really got to buy a ton of stuff, which again, they put in their buckets, and they collected the eggs in their buckets. And that was so much better than candy, and a ton of money going to that. And I really want to say, let me share with you my decoration, and then I'm going to try to stay in order here. But before I share with you this Easter egg tree that I call the blessing tree, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back from this word from our sponsor, I'm going to share this really fun activity with you. The animated feature Ice Dragon, Legend of the Blue Daisies blooms on big screens nationwide for a 2-day family-friendly adventure. Take an amazing journey to an enchanted world that holds a secret, where hope is in a song. In select cinemas nationwide, March 24th and 26th only. Tickets are on sale now at phantomevents.com. If you missed the live event, purchase a copy for your home library on Blu-ray, digital, or DVD. Visit icedragonmovie.com for free resources for the kids. All right, guys, are you ready for this? I'm going to share with you this really fun activity that you can do with your kids. This is celebrating Easter celebrations on the cheap. You can find the show notes at vintagehomeschoolmoms.com. Be sure you go there because there's a lot more ideas than the ones I'm sharing on this podcast for you. All right, so the decoration thing. I have a printable on the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network subscriber list. If you are hearing this in the future, years from now, then you are probably not going to be able to find it on the network. But if you are a subscriber, you will always get whatever we are giving out. So this year we are doing different holiday themes each month that are printables, and those will be available. Also, you might want to check out MediaAngelsMembership.com because we have a page there for printables that you can grab as I am creating them. So check there. But let me tell you how to do it. You just take some construction paper and you cut out some ovals that look like Easter eggs. Use different colors. The kids can decorate them on one side. That's great. And then you just punch holes in them, and you can thread them, but you can wait to thread them. Otherwise, it gets to be a mess. I've done it both ways ahead of time, and then as the kids do things, and it works out much better. In the meantime, you are going to look for a branch in your yard. Now, if you don't live on 2.5 acres, it might not be easy to find a branch. Now, remember, I live in Florida, so we don't have the big trees with all the branches that are readily available. So I will tell you that my little bucket and branch lasted for many years, and it took quite a while to find one that I really, really liked that had enough little branches on it. You can make your own with dowel rods. I've seen that done as well. But I really like a real tree branch. I spray painted it, and through the years, that's also gone by the wayside. Some of it's chipped off. But, if you have a really nice branch that you can put in a bucket with some plaster Paris, and that is your blessing tree. So what is a blessing tree? So we're Easter season, we want to remember what our Lord did for us, and we can never, ever earn our way into heaven or repay the Lord for what he did. So the fact that we are so blessed, we want to bless others. So I would have the children write something on the back of so they could do it two ways. One is they could, pray a blessing for someone else and just, put something like, I prayed for you, and put the person's name and give it to that person, and that person would put it on the tree. Or they could do a good deed for that person. So that was another thing that they were, able to do. And so what does that mean? That means that by the time it's Easter, you will have this beautifully decorated blessing tree, and believe me, all of the relatives love to go over and see what the children wrote on the back. So again, it's a nice little memento. You can do it every year. And you can use yarn to tie little eggs on there. Yes, they fall off, and, it's not the best thing. So if you have a great idea on how to make those little, I know one year I thought about laminating them and using Sharpie on the back so that I could repurpose them, but the kids liked making them every year, so we just stuck to that. So if you have a great idea on how to make the eggs last longer, little paper eggs, let me know. The third is, I am on number 4, is shopping sales for everything. I mean, that is a given. You can find things that you can use for decorations. I do like fresh flowers, so I will budget about $20, and I will get some fresh flowers, use some greens from the yard, and I will use that wet foam that you just soak in water, and I make my own centerpieces and decorations. In the past, I've gone to the dollar store, bought mugs for $1, and I use that to put the flowers in and then allow our guests to take them home. So it's a nice little memento that they can take home, and a little memory for them. Plus, it looks beautiful on your table. The last thing is what I was going to trying to jump to earlier when I was talking about, the potluck and reusing and repurposing and making things. If you make your own cake, cookies, fudge, you can make that for pennies compared to buying it at the store. Every once in a while, my kids talk me into the warehouse muffins that are $7 for a pack of 12. And I keep telling them, do you know how many muffins I could make for $7? The thing is, I am not up at 6 in the morning when my construction crew leaves here, my husband and my son. So I am not going to get up and make fresh muffins for them. And mine don't taste as good in the microwave. So if you have a great recipe for muffins, again, share that with me. But I really like this one I have. It's a muffin mix, and I will share that with you. It tastes delicious, fresh, and believe me, last weekend when I made my fresh muffin from my mix, and I did half blueberry and half chocolate chip and put them in muffin tins, there were only 4 left, and that's with 4 people eating them. So there really wasn't very much left over there. So again, my family is spoiled and they like things fresh. So it's really difficult. And I guess those store-bought muffins taste great in the microwave. I won't eat them. To me, they taste horrible. So again, if you make your own stuff, it will taste better. Did you know you can bake cakes and just freeze them and then take them out of the freezer and frost them? If you've ever gone to the store and bought a cake, every once in a while, you might find something that tastes like it's been frozen, in that it is very, very cold, colder than it would be if it was just in the refrigerator. Now, it is thawed out, but that is what they do in the stores. They can't just keep all of these cakes fresh in the fridge because otherwise they would go bad. The same thing with cookies. I have cookie dough in my refrigerator, and if the kids want cookies, they get the ice cream scoop out. They have to muscle it a little bit because I use coconut oil for my cookie dough, so it gets hard in the fridge, but they scoop it out with the ice cream scoop because my kids like those big cookies, and they'll just make them to order. Again, like I said, my family's spoiled. They like things fresh, and they want, hot cookies with a scoop of ice cream. Again, it is pennies, people. So, we can't always make everything ahead, but if you can do that, I have a lasagna in the freezer now that I'm going to pull out for Easter as well. And it's the same thing with breads. If you can make breads and rolls and freeze those, again, it would be very, very inexpensive. So hopefully that has helped you. There's going to be more ideas, a lot more ideas on the website. So go to vintagehomeschoolmoms.com. Look for Easter celebrations on the cheap for more information. And thank you so much for stopping in. Again, give us a rating on iTunes. I really appreciate that if you would do it. And a shout out again to our network sponsor, Chelsea Road Productions, creator of the movie Ice Dragons. And I am going to get a copy of that for my grandkids. Hope you will as well. Thanks so much for stopping by. God bless, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Vintage Homeschool Mom Show. Visit Felice at MediaAngels.com and thevintagehomeschoolmoms.com. Vintage Homeschool Moms is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network.